today we're going to be talking about gear. One of the things that I really like about the Sony E-mount system is that they really give you options because they have opened up the lens mount to a lot of other manufacturers. One of those manufacturers, and the one that we're talking about today, is Rokinon. This is the Rokinon 24mm 1.8. And it's important that I tell you that this lens costs $395. Why is that important? Because I really think that this is a lens that gives you a great deal of value, and we'll talk about why right now. The lens that I am thinking about getting costs $1,200, the Sony 24mm 1.4 G Master. I really think that that's a lens that's going to help me as I enter into my filmmaking career, as I am, planning and trying to shoot this short film. And so I really have my eyes on that lens, but I don't have $1,200 to buy that lens right now. So before I go out and, put it on a credit card or something, I wanted to test out this 24mm 1.8 to see how well it'll do as a little filmmaking lens. And so, remember, $395. That's a quarter of the price of the G Master. And so what do you get for that $400? One of the things that I really like about this lens is the size and weight on it. This lens is under 2 inches in length, and it's about 230 grams in weight. This is my 20mm, my beloved 20mm. You guys know that I take this with me anywhere. And for a size comparison, here it is next to the 20mm. It is definitely lighter than this 20mm and definitely smaller, as you guys can see. And so as I think about, going out and buying a stabilizer, this Yuen Crane M2 or M3 really becomes a stabilizer that I can really start thinking about, because it really keeps the weight down with this lens. The second thing that I really like about this lens is that it has a trusty focus hole button. You guys have heard me talk about this before, but I really customize my cameras, and that's one of the things that I think you guys should get used to. It's one of the reasons why I haven't replaced my A7C in so long. I really know this camera, and then just being able to have this focus hole button and have it do the same things that the focus hole buttons on my Sony lenses do is really important to me, because customization is really important to me, especially with this camera that has, some shortcomings. Which brings me to the third thing that I really like about this lens, is that it has this customizable switch here that allows you to customize this ring here. And so one of the things that you guys have heard me talk about a lot is that any lens that I have has to have an aperture ring on it, because the A7C is famous for not having a front dial here. And since I'm not going to be upgrading to the A7C Mark II anytime soon, and I don't have that programmable wheel here where this exposure compensation dial is, I really need to be able to control my aperture from the lens. And so just having that customization here on the lens with this switch, again, really comes in handy. Now, there's a couple things that I don't like about this lens, or that I am worried about. The first one is that you have to have, a separate dock to be able to program this lens. I really wish that wasn't the case, but it is an extra expense that you have to deal with. It's $50, but still, I wish it just had like a USB port on here somewhere so I can just connect it directly to the computer. The second thing that I don't like is that I think the filter thread is a little too small. It's 58 millimeters, which means that it's just another step-up ring that I have to go out and buy, which is another expense, because I want to try to use the same ND filter, because ND filters are not cheap. They are not cheap. And so, so I did have to buy an extra step-up ring. Another thing that I'm really worried about, especially as I get into filming my short film, and I'm going to be filming it with the A7 IV mostly, and probably an A7S III that I'll rent, is that this lens doesn't have doesn't have focus breathing compensation. Now, I don't know if this lens focus breathes a lot yet. We're going to be testing this lens a whole lot over the next couple of weeks, but that is one of the things that I'm worried about, is that this just doesn't behave, you know, the same way that my Sony lenses behave with my A7 IV, and so that's going to be a thing. And then I'm worried about the colors that come out of these Rokinon lenses. I know that they're a little warmer than the Sony lenses, and they might not seem like a big deal, but once you get your workflow down, especially when you make as many videos, it's just one extra thing to have to color correct, especially if I'm going to be shooting this in tandem with other Sony lenses. Like, you know, this will be used, you know, for wider shots, and if I use my 50mm for a little tighter shot, the color difference in those two lenses, you know, might be an issue, maybe. And then the last thing is that I've shot with Rokinon lenses before. I've shot with the 50mm, I've shot with the 35mm. They behave weird. And I don't know how to, you know, put that into words, but sometimes the focusing motors don't work right. Sometimes the iris on here, you know, will just shoot wide open. It's just a lot of weird behaviors that I just don't think that I'll have time for. So I'm really going to put this lens through the paces for the next couple weeks, see how much value we can get out of this. I've not shot with this lens yet. This is just like a first impressions video, but I'm really excited to see, you know, what this $395 lens can really do, because I do think that this is great value. And so I want to mount it onto my A7C here just so we can see how it looks. And yeah, it's so tiny and it's so lightweight. Like I said, I did get that step-up ring for this 58mm filter thread on here, and then I just have my 82mm Peter McKinnon Polar Pro ND filter on here, which cracked, by the way, and you guys keep telling me in my videos, and I know, I just don't have, you know, enough money to go out and buy another one right now. They're $250, they're not cheap. And so that's what it looks like mounted onto the A7C. So we're gonna have a lot of fun testing this over the next couple weeks. If you guys have any questions, let me know down in the comments. And yeah, we will get into it. Thank you guys for watching this first impressions video. Like and subscribe if you feel like it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.